Appreciate it. And we are live. My name is Autumn Haynes. I'm virtual buddy for My Data 2019. We're just doing a little bit of pre-show kind of work here with Paul Olivier-Dehaye. And so I'm going to turn things over to Paul if he's ready for us. Paul, are you you want to jump back in here?
Yes, so hi everyone. Hi from Helsinki at My Data 2019 conference, conference on personal data and on empowerment around personal data. I am in the room here where there's about to be a workshop, and the idea is to have a very hybrid workshop between very short place, a very short part in presence, physical presence, and then have a very much larger component that is remote. I don't know how you run those things, Autumn, usually. So if I'm really handed out the mic there, or if you want me to start, so I can explain what I was about to explain before. So now that we're live, so in the first session of the workshop, this is actually the second. In the first session, we did some kind of meta mapping where we tried to understand what would be important when mapping data ecosystems. Okay, so what would be important when mapping data ecosystems? And in doing this process, I pulled in other people to try to understand this process and to try to figure out how we could do this in a remote setting and everything. So I want to help people understand this. So I just sent in a link to the chat group, which I'll send again. Okay, so is everyone able to follow the link? So this is so this is about Mad Bull, who is also an attendee here. The goal is not to map people, just to be clear, but Mad has volunteered this information to help explain what we're trying to do. Right? So she has some entry in Wikidata. That's what you will see here. And she uses devices that I called Fitbit and Oura. And when you click on those devices, like the Oura Ring.
Share the screen?
Oops, sorry, very good call.
There we go.
Good?
Yes. Oh,
very nice. Thank you.
And we just lost him.
Oh, did we? Oh, man.
Yeah, I've had that with some people. Some people, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that their computers can't handle the screen share in Zoom. So it might. I
wonder if he also lost battery, but
oh, good point.
We can also, I can share my screen.
Yeah, I was just going to say that maybe you share your screen.
So this is what, while we're waiting for Paul to come back, this is what he was just about to share for us. So this is Mad's Wikidata that she's put in. It looks like we have an Oura Ring and a Fitbit. So it's got a Wikidata ID entry. So that's a unique identifier, right? And then we've got uses, we've got a couple inputs of data, and then she's an instance of a human. So that's like a bit of metadata, I guess. That is.
I think that might be the open humans.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
I think, Autumn, maybe if you look at the actual maps that were one of the links in the page that you sent out, then that might be a way, like we see this is the back end of the data, but we could see what the visual representation is, or Paul can jump back in at some point and show us that those links. But
so Paul, I'm just sharing my screen right now with the data that you were pulling up right before we lost you there. You are muted right now, but I want to invite you to jump back in.
Thank you. Sorry, as I said, my computer has little power. It just dropped on me. So I ran to a plug, and yeah, it's bad.
We roll with that here in Virtually Connecting. That's part of the that's part of the game.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So okay. So yeah, actually, this is the more resilient way of doing things. So Autumn, you're the one guiding this. So if and people, please ask questions, participants. So Mad is categorizing herself as an instance of human, as a person, right? And as using an Oura Ring and a Fitbit charge. So this is what's relevant to her. She's very much in the quantified self community, if you know that community. And then if you, Autumn, if you were to click on a Oura Ring, for instance, and hopefully people are following along alongside, right? So you can see that we've started mapping a little bit things there, like the official website for Oura Ring, what kind of information it tracks about her, the temperature, the sleep pattern, the activity, all of those things. And right, so this is something that she found fairly natural with assistance after maybe just 2 or 3 minutes. And it's not just about producing those pages that are quite dry. From this, you can also produce visualizations. So you've been poking around and getting visualizations, right?
I think a lot of people have. How would I get to a visualization from here?
From here, okay, so you go back on the left top in the sidebar, main page. This is actually better when I guide you. And then on the, is it possible to write as on your screen in a sense? No? So in what we do on the top right, the blue tab on the right, so down on the right, down. Can you search for visualizations? No, not search on the page, not in the.
Oh.
Go back.
To main page.
Yes.
Okay. And do like a Control F?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Visual. Here, you find it?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you click here, you'll find a bunch of visualizations. So for instance, if you click on the
Yeah, what's a good one for us to do? Maybe this ad tech one?
Mickey Mouse's social network.
Mickey Mouse's social network. I don't
So
see
if
that.
you look at the,
There.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Because people understand what social networks are.
Right.
So, right? So Mickey Mouse and his friends and what it had for breakfast and things like that, right? So this is an activity I've done in a workshop in Geneva to help people understand how the world around them is mapped, their friendships, but also, what they had for breakfast that is being Instagrammed and all of that stuff. And you can follow that this is a participant of the My Data Lab hackathon, and you can start interacting with this. Is everyone interacting with this map or a similar map on their own? Yes? All right, so maybe we can do this exercise together. I can guide you, Autumn. So does anyone have a character that they think should be there? So if you roll a little bit further up, you see that Mickey Mouse is friend of, different characters: Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, Donald Duck, Minnie Mouse, and so on. Right? So it's missing some characters here. So if you go to if you click on Mickey Mouse, Autumn, so you go back down a little bit. So you double click.
Double click, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So this is completely editable and interactive, right? So you see this relation, you can start to understand how this works, right? So there is a relationship between different entities, between fictional characters, his friend, the date of birth, and so on. So Autumn, if you log in.
I'm logged in.
Are you sure you're logged in?
No, I'm not logged in. Thank you, Paul. Yeah, hold on a second.
But wait a second, because it's not gonna work. I'll try it. So this is a bug but you need to be at HTTPS in the URL bar.
Okay.
So this is a bug. Watch out, everyone. It's the redirect is not working. Sorry.
Michael, I think you're trying to jump in, but having a hard time. You're really slow. Okay, I think I'm logged in now, Paul.
Okay. So so you right. So do you have an idea of a character that is missing here?
Let's see. Who does Mickey Mouse hang out with? How about Pluto? Is Pluto on here?
Yeah, Pluto is already here.
Oh, Pluto's already there. How about, did somebody, I just got a chat.
The really rich guy. What's his name?
Scrooge McDuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So
All right.
what
So how would I add Scrooge McDuck as a friend?
so his friend, you see the list, and then at the bottom
Ah.
there is add value.
Right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Now that guy is not. So let me cheat for a second. So
Oh, I see.
let me cheat because I'm adding first the character myself.
Okay.
So the idea would be that you create the character, right? So Scrooge, or whatever the name is.
Mm-hmm. So you
So-
have to create the page first.
Yeah, exactly. So let
Okay.
me try to. So I just did. So try it out. SCR. That's how I spelled it.
Oh, hold on a second. I gotta get my cursor in the right place. I'm back in the Zoom chat. SCR.
R.
There he is.
Right. And you save it.
How do I save it? There it is. Save.
Yeah. So maybe one of you guys, Rebecca, Daniel, or Michael, can go back through the whole process of visualization and see if Scrooge has really appeared as a friend. And if it's the case, then you can share the screen to show it back. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, so we can try that out.
And I can give back. I can stop my screen share so that somebody else can just share their screen if somebody else can pull up the visualization.
Rebecca, you're muted, but
Yes, there it is.
There
So-
it is.
So he's down here, Scrooge.
Scrooge, yes. Okay.
That's not my screen, that's someone else's screen. Is it? No?
That is
Whoever-
the
Okay. So, Daniel, can you ping, let's say Minnie Mouse on this? Do you see Minnie Mouse? So double click. And you'll see that it's an instance of a fictional character. So Rebecca, can you click on Scrooge that we just created and make sure that it's also an instance of a fictional character? Can you try that out? So make sure you're logged in, Rebecca. And
That's actually Daniel, I think that's on. I can't
Yeah, yeah.
get logged in. It's not letting me.
Go to
Okay.
HTTPS rather than HTTP. Just change it in your URL in your browser.
Yeah, I did that. It's still not letting me.
Oh,
What is-
man.
do you want to share your screen so I can try to see what the problem might be?
I'm in.
Oh, Daniel's in. Yay.
Maybe let me just let Danielle take a
Yeah,
look.
he can run with it. Yeah.
No, but I think we should help Rebecca fix her problem.
That's very kind. Sure. Daniel,
There's
do
a-
you want to release
stop.
and then Rebecca, will you share?
Oh, do I have to? I think we just have to do HTTPS first and then.
Yes.
Yep, exactly. Just put that.
But it keeps going, keeps redirecting to the non
Yes.
one.
So actually, it redirects every time you click on the graphs somewhere. This is a bug. I'm
Same.
sorry for this. I will fix it. I'll get it fixed.
So you put your password in first and then change it to HTTPS?
No, you never put your password when it's HTTP,
Yeah.
but it keeps on sending you there when you click on the graph, unfortunately.
Well, I'm actually just on the top. I'm not even on the graph.
Can you share your screen if you don't mind?
Yep, let me go over here. Okay.
And Donna, is everything okay in terms of logging in? Are you good?
You're muted.
You're
Velma, we
muted.
can't hear you.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. We just thought of it right now. So that's okay.
Sorry, no, I wasn't able to log in either. I'm having trouble.
Okay,
I'm
so
following along on the shared
Okay.
screen.
so maybe watching Rebecca will help fix it for you.
I just got logged in. I don't know, and then it broke it. Okay, so I'm here.
So you see that there's a lock at the top left, meaning
Yeah.
you're. So that's good. So
Oh,
now
okay.
you should be fine when you log in.
So I didn't, I somehow managed to fix it. Sorry, stand by.
People are asking for you. Are you running a workshop?
Yes, yes.
Maybe
People
they
there?
already
So
want it.
I exist.
sorry, 2 seconds.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen when I figure out how.
Just up at the top. You want to do the, there's a little tiny thing at
Oh,
the
it's a-
very, very top of your screen.
It's figuring out which screen. At the very top. I've got more than one.
I can stop you if
Stop share.
that's
There it is.
helpful.
I got
Okay.
it. It's actually at the bottom of my. I have 3 monitors, and
I
it
see.
was. I had the screen I was sharing on one, the share on another, and when I'm using my video, it's on the 3rd one. So I managed to use all 3 screens at once.
Paul, should we go to the other room and watch a little bit of the presentation and then come back to our workshop?
To be honest, I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
It seems like they're doing their thing and not following the script that we had agreed on. So that's fine. I'm quite happy to actually have this with you guys. So
Okay.
it's fine. They're a bit confused. So I'll just focus on you guys. Yeah. Okay. So did we solve the problems that Rebecca and Donna had?
We got Rebecca in. Donna, did you get in? You're nodding. It looks like, yeah, she's in. And then, well, let's wait for Paul to, it looks like there's a little bit of confusion.
Just a second. Yes, there's a bit
There.
of confusion over there.
That's okay.
Just
No problem.
just a second.
I think the visualization is super cool.
Yeah, it is neat. It's neat to be able to map out all of these data, but then be able to have that visualization, I think is really cool. That was one of the reasons why I pulled Daniel in. I was like, I think he's going to like these visualizations.
It's like mind mapping, but then there's like an extra layer to the interrelation of nodes, you know, because like mind mapping is pretty simple. You just have like a basic hierarchy, but this is like, there's interaction between the different layers of hierarchy.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm pretty into this. I'm kind of nerding out a lot. That's why I'm not saying much.
That's really cool.
So something that was quickly decided just in my head is, depending on how things go here, I might just decide to start projecting on the screen. And then if people want to rally to that, it's kind of like the virtual session taking over the local session.
Are we going to take over the room?
It might be.
Nice.
It might be. So, okay.
We never did do introductions though, and I do want to make sure everybody
Okay.
knows each other. Could we just pause and do a quick round of introductions? Awesome. So my name's Autumn Keynes. I'm the virtual buddy for this session. I'm an instructional designer in Michigan in the United States. And I'm just going to call folks out so that they can do their introductions. Why don't we start with Rebecca?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hogue. I am a co-director of Virtually Connecting, and I'm an instructor of instructional design at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, but I live in Sunnyvale, California, and I'm a Canadian.
Welcome, Rebecca. Daniel, could you give us an introduction real quick?
I also am Canadian. I'm at Davidson College in North Carolina at the moment, but I've taught as or worked as an instructional designer in 6 different countries over the last 13-ish years.
Very cool. Welcome, Danielle. Lucy, could you introduce yourself for us?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Lucy Patterson. I work at Wikimedia Wikimedia Germany, and I'm here for a couple of reasons. I was really interested to see how MAD was involved, and I heard a little bit about personaldata.io before. I've been kind of active as a kind of open movement activist bottom-up commons type of person for a while. And now working at Wikimedia, I'm involved in primarily cultural heritage data, but also other types of culture through Wikidata and Wikibase. So I know a bit about the technology, but I'm really interested in how you're using it in this session today.
Welcome, Lucy. It's great to have you. Michael, are you with us? Can you give us an introduction? I know you're on bad Wi-Fi at a hotel, so maybe I will just wait to see your camera, and I'll ask Donna to introduce herself real quick.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Donna Stanton. I'm in the US in Boston. I'm in the instructional design program at UMass Boston, and I'm a student of Rebecca's.
Awesome. And we just lost Michael, so I think the bad hotel Wi-Fi is getting the best of him, unfortunately. So welcome everyone. I'm super excited to be a part of this session, and I want to thank Paul again for bringing us into his session.
Can he do an intro as well when we
Yeah.
come back? Oh, Michael's back.
Have terrible Wi-Fi.
There he is. Hey, Michael. We are having a hard time keeping you here, Michael, but just so that you know, we do see you over there, and we're getting little bits and pieces of you. Paul, could I ask you to do an introduction really quick?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. So my name is Paul Dehaye. I'm a mathematician by training. Actually, I was in academia for a while, and now I'm running an NGO in Geneva called personaldata.io that Lucy mentioned. And I'm also on the board of an organization called My Data Global, which is having its annual meeting now in Helsinki. And that's where I am. And Mad, who was mentioned as well by Lucy, is the director of Open Humans, and she's also on the board of My Data Global. So both Mad and myself and other people here, but not everyone, are very interested in those bottom-up approaches and trying to see like how we can connect with people and have something organic that emerges alongside the My Data movement and so on. So I'm also, in a sense, introducing Mad as well. And I think what we quickly agreed to is like, Mad is mindful that there are 2 workshops running in parallel now. So I'll just show you a video of them working. Ooh. So you can see the screen. You can see a bunch of people around the room and with a whiteboard. Does everyone see it? Yeah. Yeah. So we quickly agree with Matt on how to, let's say, think through about this session and how to align the 2 together and try to make this work together. But this is obviously very dynamic, so please be.
It's an unconference session. We're used to that.
So like be loose on your expectations. But I think Lucy, you can also help me out with the technology and from what I heard, and yeah, make it work. I'm confident with this, the vibe I'm getting, that we can make it work very well.
Michael, are you able to give us an introduction now?
Let me try now. I got off the hotel Wi-Fi and reconnected via my mobile phone. It looks like it's working better. Hi, I'm Michael Berman. I work for the California State University, and as part of my job, we have a data set of student data that probably has about 10 million students in it. So I'm really interested.
Oh, we just got a lot of crazy audio on you there, Michael. I don't know what happened to your microphone, but I heard something about 10 million students. So you have a lot.
We have a system that has at least 10 million student records in it. We serve 500,000 students at a time. So, and we have 3 million alumni. So we've got a lot of data.
Well, maybe we could talk about doing some personal data empowerment with all those people. That sounds like a cool thing.
All at once. Take a big wiki.
All right, Paul, do you want to take things back over here and maybe take us back through what's the next step here for us?
Yes, thank you, Autumn. Please do make sure that I'm following the customs of virtually connecting. That is very, very welcome. Thank you. So what were we doing? We were trying to see if we could understand this idea of a Mickey Mouse social network, and if we could make sense of it, right? But I think Lucy joined in between, and maybe someone else. So if someone could post a link to the wiki in the chat, that would be helpful, so Lucy can follow along. And is someone looking at the Mickey Mouse the Mickey Mouse social network and is willing to share the screen? That would be great. And we're testing on how to I'm not able to find where the chat is. Sorry. This is a Zoom problem. Can someone help me? Where's the chat?
Sorry, for me, it's up at the top. When I mouse over the screen, under more, I get chat.
It could also be in a bottom bar, Paul. It depends on.
Got it. Got it.
The way that you have your screen, if
Yeah.
you're full screen or if you're minimized, yeah.
Or gallery view, speaker view.
Right.
Oh, this is.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So okay. So does someone want to share their screen?
I'm sharing my screen right now, and I've got the Mickey Mouse, not the visualization, but the, I guess, data set is up. So I'm seeing like all the different instances, the date of birth is enemy, breakfast meal, instance of, all of that.
Yeah. Okay. Are there questions at this stage? Daniel?
I don't know about a question, but I'm not sure if everyone has followed along. So maybe we just want to tell people what they're looking at. If they've kind of, I don't know if that was part of the live. I can't remember when we started recording or when we started live casting or not.
I think that was part of the live stream.
I think it was part of, okay, sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, Paul, why don't you just give us you can see what I'm showing right now, right, Paul?
I'm having trouble with that, actually.
Okay, so I am on the.
I can see it, but very, very small.
Oh, interesting. So I'm on the Mickey Mouse data inside the URL. It's the item Q308.
Yeah. Okay, it's still bad, but I can make it work. So yes, so this is an entry on this wiki. So if you go to the link that Daniel posted a few minutes ago, you'll land onto this page, which is Mickey Mouse, and it's putting information about Mickey Mouse and the relationships between his friends and all of those things. So if you go to visualizations, you follow the process that we had before.
So, main page and then visualizations, Mickey Mouse social network.
You get, thank you. You will get a nice graph of how all those people, those characters, those entities are interconnected. Okay, so Mickey Mouse is friend, but his friends, but is also his enemies, and what type of object it is, and so on and so on. All right. So if you reflect back on what we're doing, we're introducing data into a database and producing a visualization on top. Now, I will tell you that Wikibase is extremely powerful in the amount of visualizations it can help produce. And I can also tell you that those visualizations, I found them very helpful in workshops to align a lot of people together, to help them make sense together. But I will also be brutally honest that I cannot create those visualizations so quickly, like different types of visualizations. So I cannot promise today that the outcome of our session would be a nice visualization. But it's going to be today plus a few hours. When I have the time, I'll take 10 minutes to compose a nice visualization as an outcome of our session today. That is my goal. That today is that you feel the power of this tool, and you understand how it could be useful for you. And then the quickest way to that is through a nice visualization, I think. But maybe you have a different opinion. Does this make sense to everyone?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we could do a visualization of virtually connecting.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea, actually. A really good idea. The only problem that I see with this is that then you're mapping no longer fictional characters, but individuals. And that's going to be a little bit more tricky for privacy reasons. This is a public
Right.
website, right? So I don't know, out of curiosity, how do you guys react to this suggestion?
Yeah, so what did you mean by that, Rebecca? What do you mean by mapping virtually connecting? Do you mean mapping the people and the relationships of the people who are involved with virtually connecting?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking of it sort of like the Mickey Mouse. So we could keep it to public data, right? Because things are on our website already about who the directors are and who's on the board and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so there's something to be said for
Start with
data is
those of
already
us- We could start with those of us who are already here, since we can consent to be part of this.
way to go with it. Yeah, absolutely, because we've already got several of us here who I think everybody here has done virtually connecting before. Lucy, I know we talked with Christian. You have done a session before, right?
Yeah, it was last year in May in the context of Republica, but yeah, I did.
Okay, yeah.
I have a question on this data set though. Like what we have with Mickey Mouse is we have several different facets of Mickey Mouse's existence, I guess, or beingness. If virtually connecting is just people, then it's going to be like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, would we have like who is director, is participant, is virtual buddy? I
Yeah,
guess
I
if we
think
put it
so.
that way, because then, yeah, Autumn, like sometimes you're not always the virtual buddy. Sometimes you like is on site, is, you know what I mean? So we could probably fork it out like that.
I think that's
just
what
trying
we
to
would
think
be
that up,
talking about doing is the
Yeah.
roles that people hold. So both Rebecca and I are co-directors, but we've also been on-site buddies and virtual buddies as well as participants. Michael is an advisory buddy, but he's also been an on-site guest. Daniel, you've been an on-site guest. I think you've been a virtual buddy. So we've all kind of held these multiple roles. Sometimes we have I think most of us have more than one role. So that would be interesting to see how that maps out.
And if is what Paul's alluding to, if it takes a while to make one of these, this will at least be like a small data set that we start with. We're not trying to start with like 100,000 things to plot. We're starting with like 7 people.
Right. We're
So
we're basically plotting this session.
Yeah. Which might make it at least something that we can actually, it might be like a tangible piece that we can see afterwards.
I can totally roll with that. I'm happy to do that. It sounds great. If you guys are excited about it, I'm excited about it. So
Paul, should I let you share your screen and you can kind of how to do that, or do you want to just direct me?
I so wish to be able to share my screen, but I can't find how to do it. So Autumn, can you share yours and we'll roll together.
All right, sure.
So, okay, let me, yeah, so please share your screen. Yes, so go to wiki.personaldata.io and others do the same. Right.
Oh, no, hold on.
So-
And just give me 1 second. I'm sorry,
And
there we go.
so,
Do you need me to log in?
yes. So HTTPS, right? Everyone.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, so then you can search ecosystem mapping 2. No, on search on the
Okay.
Yeah. So because that idea is good, and if you right. So what is this? This is, haha, guess what? The page for the session right now. But I was conceiving it more as the on-site session. So it's an instance of an event. It's part of the MyData 2019 conference of the track Perspectives. It has an official website and it follows Ecosystem Mapping 1. And then I'll just add a statement. It has a participant. And so if you reload the page, Autumn, it has a participant at the bottom, presumably, and that's me. Okay. And if you click on that page, you can have more information about myself. So my ID on other website, who I'm a friend with. So friends I've tried to rope into this, and I can add something like affiliation, but I don't have the property yet. So I can work on that. This is a good model for what you guys want to do. Yes? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
I got
does-
lost at the, how did you get to you? I got lost at the ecosystem mapping 2. Then what do I click?
so if you reload the page, because I just added it live, right?
Oh,
As-
okay.
I just added myself as a participant live.
Oh, there, now I see it. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this hot potato to you guys. Does anyone feel confident replicating this type of setup for what you want to do for virtually connecting?
I
And
guess I don't know how to get started. Like, how
okay,
would I get
good.
started?
And I'll obviously be very supportive for this. So Autumn, if you go on the left at new item, so in the sidebar, new item, it's like the fourth,
I see it.
yeah. So everyone, that's new item in the sidebar on the left. And here you go. You can add a new item, which would be virtually connecting to my data, or this is the session now, right? So how do you want to call it? At my data 2019. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so you can yeah, you can create. So just do create here.
Can we
The-
alias it to V connecting so it's shorter?
You can. I think it's Rebecca, so you can edit and add an alias here.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Yeah.
I could do it.
So I will take a directive role in suggesting orally a bunch of statements you can add, and each of you guys can say, "Oh, I'll take care of that."
Okay.
So it's an instance of event. Okay. Does someone want to take care of that and speak up that they are doing it?
I'll give it a try.
Oh, great! And I'm there to help you. It's in. That's the property you should use in ecosystem mapping 2. That is for someone else to try out.
So I'm on the virtually connecting page.
And then you need to make sure you're logged in,
Yep.
and you need to add statement.
Oh, add statement. Okay, there it is.
Do you want to share your screen, Rebecca?
Sure.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. One at a time. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I have virtually connecting. I've hit add statement. So property would be in, right?
Yeah, in. So if it's in, then it should be in ecosystem mapping 2. Right? Because you're virtually connecting in that event. At least that's the ontology I decide for you guys. Okay? Just for the moment, let me decide on the ontology just to make it simpler. And it's an instance of event. So instance of.
Instance of
Mhm.
event.
Okay. So then there's participants. So you can add a statement, participant.
Participant of, or just
No,
participant?
participant.
Okay.
And then me. So PAUL. I'm a participant in the session, right?
You are?
You
Yeah.
are.
So there you go. So I think for whoever wants to volunteer, there is a space there to add yourself, right? So this is probably the best way to figure it out. So if you
So
want
if I
to,
want to add me, I would add participant, but I don't exist yet.
no, sorry, a good question. So you stop there. You do add value, but within the participant.
Oh, add value in here.
Exactly.
Okay, and then I can add me, but I don't exist yet. Although
Yeah.
I'm in the system. Oh, no, I'm not, apparently.
No, you don't. Okay, good question. You have an account, but
Yeah.
you don't exist as an item.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I can create new item that's me.
Yes. So you'll get a little pop-up,
Oh, nice.
and it's not perfect, but it's helpful.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
There we go.
okay, congratulations, Rebecca. No, but it's not so easy. So you got
It's
there. It's great.
fun.
It's great. So now you go back to the other tab. You're an instance of human. That's the first thing you are. You're a human person. We all are human persons. Really important.
It is very important.
Not to lose track of that. So
Yes.
no, but seriously.
Yeah,
So and now you go back to the other tab, and
just
your
go.
first.
Yeah, it opened a new tab, Rebecca.
Open
so
a
go
new
back.
tab. There you
Yeah.
go.
So first you're a human, and second you're a participant in the session.
So
You're in.
if I add now,
So
now
just exactly.
There you
Yeah.
are.
So she pressed backspace. It's actually a little bit tricky. So there you go. You're in the moment. This is it. This is it. So for those of you who would like to volunteer, connect you. Do the same. Do the same, right? So
yeah, no, and I'll stop sharing my screen in just a second. But so by having added me here, does that link me to? Yeah. No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that I'm. It didn't add me being a participant onto my screen.
sorry.
So it didn't automatically add me to.
Right. Very good. So
Yeah.
it created an item, but it didn't necessarily add you as a participant. This is a separate step. It's a bit unfortunate in the user interface. It could be improved a little bit.
So, but so if I go to me, I don't see me as a participant of. I have to add it.
Yeah.
I'm not
I know the answer to this question. So you could start defining schemas that are quite complex, saying, well, if there is a participant in some event, then the inverse connection should exist as well,
Yeah.
Which is your question.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so hint to Lucy. This is something that would be great to have for people like me who are trying to use Wikibase. It would be great if this existed like right away and was directly integrated. It's a completely natural question, but unfortunately Wikibase is kind of hard to get going with. And so it's not there at the moment, but that functionality exists. It just needs a little bit of help from Wikimedia Germany to make it.
Okay.
Lucy, do you want to comment or?
I was like playing around adding properties. I should have been paying a little bit more attention. Which particular functionality are you talking about?
So Rebecca, I think, was asking about the inverse properties.
So
If
when
someone-
I added myself as a participant to the thing, it didn't automatically add participant of on my page. I have to manually do it twice.
Yeah, I think that's something that's come up multiple times before, but I'll carry the message forward that's that's a core thing that could be important for Wikidata.
No, it exists. It exists. It is implemented in Wikidata. It's just that having all of those extra features on top in a Wikibase instance that you just start on your own, that is a lot of work that I haven't done. But it can be overcome.
Include them in the package, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but the core, like 95% of the work has been done. It's just this extra 5% that is a problem. Okay, but anyway, let's sidetrack. So if you look up now, if you look up Lucy in her on the search page in the top right, on the search bar in the top right, so you will see that she has added statements about herself. Actually,
Twitter name.
one state. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I realized that my microphone's on. Twitter name is one of the things you can add. I think I'm going to go add that to me.
Yeah, I think most of you guys have a Twitter account. So
yeah, an easy thing to do is to take a look at other people who have more content developed and see what you can copy from their profile. So I was looking through Paul's and I saw Twitter username, thought I would add mine.
Yeah. So let's think a little bit forward. Like, would you like to have something like title, for instance, for each of you guys?
It seems like, could we use title, since we talked about mapping virtually connecting, could we use our relationship with virtually connecting as the title? So could I be like virtual buddy?
Yeah, so that seems okay, good. Okay, so right. Okay, let me.
I think we have to create a virtually connecting thing.
Okay.
Like virtually connecting entity, because right now we have virtually connecting at.
Yeah. So virtually connecting as an entity, that sounds really good. Also, you need to have roles, like the roles, like virtually connecting buddy. That is something that is important to you guys as a concept. So you should create that concept as well. And then there is some kind of relationship, like who is the host, that is important. And so this is a relationship, it's different. You guys don't know how to create a relationship yet, I'll just do it quickly. And there's probably other relationships, but just go ahead. I think you guys have everything and the support you need to try it out. Let's see how far you get, supporting each other and with my help. Is that okay?
Yep.
Speak up with your ideas, and then yeah.
Okay, so
I got a little bit lost earlier, so I really would prefer just to kind of watch what's going on, just because I'm new to the whole process. So I think I'm going to just watch.
Yep. So does someone who feels comfortable want to share their screen?
okay, I can share again. That's fine. Google Chrome.
Okay.
Rebecca, share. Okay, so here's the screen. It's on my name right now, but let's go to virtually connecting. Let's start by getting to virtually connecting at my data. Oh. Is virtually connecting?
What is going on? I can't see. No, this is the wrong page.
We've ended up in MediaWiki.
This is, yeah, exactly. It's the item versus the textual page.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So now I want to add.
Okay. So add a statement that says, yeah.
I have a question. Why am I showing up as Q1152?
Because you don't have a label. That's a good question, but you don't have a label. So if you click on Q1152, and
He does have a label. It's just in a different language.
Yeah. Thank you,
Actually, yeah. So here's the weird thing, Paul. What I'm seeing when on my page, I'm actually seeing my name when I look at that page, but here I'm seeing Q1152.
Yeah, so just a second, this is quite important. Whoever has the screen, can you roll up on the,
Rebecca.
So just next to your name, your login, on the really top right of the page, there's the language you have. And mine is English. And most people here is probably English, but it's not your case. Is it Michael? Or it's not your case, Q1152.
Rebecca, can I share my screen, because this is going to be quite comical for people.
Yeah,
I want to show
okay,
everyone
let
what
me
my language is. I don't want to tell you because it won't be as funny. Okay, so I'm going to show you what my name or what language I am speaking currently. Why does Canadian English always get the down? Like we are just, I don't know. We just never get the, we never
Right.
get the cred we deserve.
Well, and okay, so what? Oh, and your name is Rupture?
Erupt Pure.
Oh.
So you need to. I'm sorry. I know this is culturally very directive and forceful.
Yeah,
But you
I
need-
need to change this. Obviously.
Yes, you're not. Yeah, you're speaking English, the Queen's English, not Canadian English.
Oh.
And
Actually, if you really want to see the Queen's English, I should share mine. It automatically set me to British English when I'm
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say British English would be the Queen's English.
So I'm writing additional labels in English because my default labels come up in British English.
you can switch as well, right?
Oh, look
Yes,
at that.
An interesting part for me here is when I logged in here, I didn't say Canadian English.
It
So
defaulted to
it pulled
that.
it pulled it from Wiki maybe because on my Wikipedia login, is that possible? I don't know where that would come from.
Or a system setting.
Yes, your
Oh, it's
system
my
setting.
settings. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But
okay.
but the Wiki, the MediaWiki is super intelligent because it has some kind of I guess hierarchy of languages, where if something's available in like Canadian English but not English, and your setting is Canadian English, it will show you that first. And if it's not there, it should switch to English. But it's complex to set up as well. so yeah, that's a problem.
So sorry, Paul. And then I would.
Yeah.
I don't mean to take this over. I'm just curious how I would change my label.
So you need to click on Q1152 and edit. And you see the situation here. You see it right away, right? The
Yes.
Canadian English name is inscribed, but not the English name. And you are now have the English view.
Right.
And there it's fixed for everyone.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an advantage and an inconvenient that it's multilingual by default. Because for my project, which is around personal data and has a global perspective, tries to be as inclusive as possible, it's great if a lot of the structure exists because there's lots of English speakers, but if the French speakers just need to do the translation, or the bilingual just need to do the translation of terms, it makes everything much easier to converge on a global scale.
Right.
But yeah, it's a disadvantage in some other ways. So we were focused on mapping the event, which I thought was a really good idea. So however we can figure out who has the control of the screen. Can we go back to that activity?
Yeah, so we're at the event, but we need to create virtually connecting as an entity doesn't exist yet.
All right. So does someone want to take ownership of that quote unquote task?
It looks like Rebecca's got the screen
Rebecca's
now.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the screen. Daniel is still showing up as Q1152.
Did you refresh?
Yeah,
It's probably your cache.
yeah, I'll do shift.
Okay,
Your
this
cache
is
settings might be like several minutes instead
Yeah.
of just a few seconds.
Yeah, okay.
so, yeah, stay focused. Yeah.
So
yeah.
do I need add an item, a new item that's virtually connecting?
You can do it that way. Go ahead.
Because then we can add the relationships and then eventually get it back into the other
yeah,
one. So
yeah.
actually connect.
So Autumn, meanwhile, did you create your own page?
I did.
Okay, so I created the property host,
Okay.
and you can have I know it's not quite right in your frame, but trust me for a second. So
Sure.
find the instance of virtually connecting that were like this session, and add yourself, as a host. So you add the property host, and then you. No, this is for the session, not for.
Right.
Sorry, I'm sharing my screen and that's confusing people.
Yeah, no, I was suggesting that Autumn in parallel would
Yeah.
start editing something else.
Okay, so you want me, okay, so I'll keep sharing
So-
my screen then.
Yes, yes. Rebecca, you were focused. You did create virtually connecting the entity and
Yeah,
make it an instance of organization.
okay.
And you can also add official website and then a URL for the official website. Sounds like a plan?
Yep,
And I added myself as a host to the Virtually Connecting at My Data 2019.
All right, great. How does it work in your language? Am I also in your like little subculture? Am I also a host or not?
Yeah, actually, you're a I'm a virtual buddy and you're an on-site buddy, but we can call them hosts too. We've actually talked about adopting that language because it makes more sense to people.
Well, you can add qualify. So I'll add myself as a host, but then there is a distinction in roles between us two, right?
Okay.
So let me just quickly do it.
so by clicking save, you agree to terms of webinar. Okay, but it's not actually letting me save.
I've had the same problem. I'm not sure why that's happening. Other items have URLs attached to them. And I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah, so this has happened. Okay, forget about this idea. I don't know where that comes from, but it has happened in the first session as well with URLs. I don't know why there is a problem there. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
Oh,
so
it
we
wants
won't do
Sorry.
URLs.
It wants HTTPS, not HTTP.
Did that work?
No,
Nope.
it doesn't work with it, doesn't work without it. So official website's not working.
That's okay.
It's okay. I put it in the description anyway.
Yeah.
It's old school and it wants the www.
Oh.
Is that it?
Could be.
Let me try it.
We have an example where that's not the case, so I don't think that will solve the problem. For the ecosystem mapping 2 workshop, it's HTTPS straight to my data.
So I do just want to jump in as virtual buddy and say that we are about 7 or 8 minutes outside of the top of the hour and I will have to leave and I know the session will be over. So just to kind of make time, that cruel variable clear to everyone.
I lost my mouse in here. I can't edit.
Okay.
So
So
maybe let's
you want to
skip,
close. You want to close in 5 minutes. Is that right? Did I?
I'm gonna have to, I could give hosting privileges over to Rebecca or over to you, Paul, and you guys can continue, but I'll have to leave at the top of the hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to leave at the top of the hour as well.
Yeah, me too.
And that's
Oh.
basically what we told everybody. So I want to be respectful of everyone's time. So
Okay. So I would like to get feedback from you guys. How do you feel about this? What would you? I mean, is this successful? Is this halfway successful? What would make it successful? And like, what do you see in this? Like, just share back how you feel about this whole thing.
maybe let's go back to our faces. Rebecca,
Oh,
I'm going
sorry,
to stop
I can
your
stop.
sharing.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So I'm not looking up the whole time. There we go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hey, we're back. Well, I think this is really neat. And I think this was a really fun session. It's a little bit different than what we usually do with Virtually Connecting, which is more like conversational. This was definitely a working session. I'm not very familiar with Wikidata. I've done a little bit of pulling from Wikidata for a newspapers project on Wikipedia, but it was really neat to dig in and think about how you'd actually create data instances, right? And how you can visualize those. I think it's a really neat tool.
I like the creation of the ability to see the relationships between things. I'm really curious to see a map that isn't a pure, like, so where some of the connections are shared, if that makes sense. So a node is more than one thing, and so it's connected in more than one way.
Okay. Doing probably
More like
need
a
to-
network mesh, I guess, because that's, I think, closer to what our organization looks like.
what qualities would make it more of a network? What qualities do you know in virtually connecting that makes it more like a network?
It's just that people carry multiple roles at different events
I see.
or
see.
at different times even, because so multiple roles within some of the roles are event-based roles, I guess. And some of the roles are
I got it.
by people, right?
Organize,
as a word.
organizationally structural things.
Yeah.
Yes. Interesting. Thank you.
I like the instance of, like, you could use instance of for particular particular events. I think it's an interesting idea to think about how you would visually map our organization. I think that.
See, I go automatically to trying to map myself. And I'm kind of excited at the idea that I could add this to like a resume or my website as like a way of saying like, you know, instead of reading a bunch of text of saying like Daniel's from Canada and blah, 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 you could just go and say like countries lived or visited or like research interests or, you know.
That's such a cool idea. That is a great way to
my Instagram accounts, like I have like 10, right? So or 10 Instagram accounts, or you know, my Twitter accounts that I am in charge of.
Oh, you like identities and all the different identities.
Yeah, all the different
you are.
things that, so kind of like a mind map, but then yes, exactly those, all of those nodes, those nodes would work into each other.
Sorry, so this is really cool. Sorry, I'm jumping in. What you were saying were really cool and I want to bounce on it. But in the session, they're now projecting, they just decided unilaterally to project what we have been doing. So that so they had like virtually connecting session and so on, and they're discussing this there, which is really cool, I thought. But what you were saying, I'm actually also doing this. So I map myself on Wikidata.
Yeah,
the stuff, you know, not my family or the private stuff, but the public stuff. And if you poke around, there's a way to visualize this in exactly what you just said. And that's how I start my talks now. It freaks out a bit some people, because it's like, wow, this guy's really public. But it's actually for what I talk about, which is personal data and some of an identity and all of those things and my networks and so on. It's a totally rational way to start. And so that's why I'm using Mickey Mouse as social network as well. It's like, okay, you're talking about fictional character, that tension of what's private, what's public disappears quite a bit.
Right.
Okay.
Lucy, did you want to give us some final thoughts here?
Don't give me the responsibility of wrapping up the session, but I'd just like to say it was really, it's a very interesting perspective, because we're used to kind of thinking about Wikibase in terms of an institution's data or in terms of a Wikipedia-like project, as Wikidata is. So it is interesting to think about, you know, where you can build a knowledge graph and how you could do it personally or as an organization, you know, to map things in general. It's a different use case for Wikibase for us to think about, you know, it being like a sort of mind mapping tool. But I think it could be really powerful that way. I'd love it if you could share your query for the query that you use at the start of your presentations, Paul.
For what? For the Mickey Mouse?
Wikidata.
Oh, yeah.
Personal stuff on Wikidata. That would be really interesting. Yeah, I'd love to know, like, if we are mapping data ecosystems, like how far can you go in hosting data in this way, maybe, or like, I don't know, I'm going to think about it some more for myself as well, but I'm really interested by this use case.
So I don't know if there are others whose turn it is, but just to respond to this, so I'm really interested in similar stuff, but maybe framing it slightly differently. My goal is to see Wikibase as a really good tool to build meaning collectively, right? So to make sense, to build meaning, to this is exactly what we've been doing now. We've been trying to standardize knowledge that is informal and enter into in a database because we see utility short term, or we glimpse at utility short term. And to bounce on what Lucy was saying, so it's great when you're talking to institutions, but it's so powerful when you're talking to like emerging movements, you know, like a bunch of people who want to do something together. You virtually connecting is not an official thing. It's not, you don't have a legal entity behind it, but you guys want to realize something, right? So the idea is all you need is a website. Actually, all you need is like an instance, and then you can start really be powerful like that, and building alliances and all this. So this is what I want. I can see that potential, and I want to do this for my data together with Mad. I feel like she's on board as well, and we want to really explore this and to see. And this is why I was interested also in connecting with virtually connecting folks, which I've known for a while through Autumn and others, because I mean, personally, I want my data to be like really close to educators, to academics, and so if you think this is a useful tool and you start using it, and we can find a lot of synergies, and it can be extremely amplifying for this, right? So that's what I'm hoping that we can get to, and I think you guys can see it as well, and you can, you know.
And I can see a parallel as well in the health, e-patient health sector. Of one of the, that's another area where it's sort of different than education in that data is collected, but it's so private that it's challenging when people don't want it to be private. It's really hard to make health data public. And so I can sort of see an instance of researchers looking for people, and they do this huge recruitment thing, being able to have people volunteer their information so that researchers don't have to work so hard to find the people. And I think that's part of what Open Humans does.
Yeah, Open Humans is a great organization. I think it's part of this, but I don't exactly know how yet. So by all means, let's make this, yeah.
Well, I definitely get this sense that we're just beginning something here. I think this is something much larger. We might have more of these kind of conversations. I think this might just be the first conversation of what will turn into maybe some more conversations about how we could use this. This time we did it around this conference, but I also want to point out that we have another format in Virtually Connecting, which we call the missed conversation, which doesn't have to be around a conference. So we can set up more conversations like this if we want to, and continue talking about how we could use this to map Virtually Connecting, how we can map ourselves so that we can take more, and we have more agency around our personal data and what we want to share and what we want to keep private. Or talk about other communities that we can connect with, like ePatients. So this doesn't have to be the end. This can definitely be. We are a little bit, we're right at the top of the hour. So I'm just going to open it up. Any last question or any last comments or anything else?
I have one last comment. So there's someone else in this room called Susanna. And myself will be in Berlin for Wikidata Con. So I guess I'll meet Lucy in person then. If you guys can like brainstorm, if you have ideas, if you like use cases, all of those things, make sure that they come to me so I can like share that back there at that conference, so we can get all this like slight annoyances of the user interface out of the way in order for people to really like take this in.
Yeah, and maybe we do another Virtually Connecting from the what is it, Wikidata?
Wikidata Con.
Yeah,
October 25th and 26th.
That is an awesome idea. We should totally do it. And you know what? Yeah, we should. So they're getting, okay, this is great. They're setting up their Wikibase instance to be ready to have a Wikibase instance, a Wikidata Con, and all of that. We can totally game them to that own thing. And we can totally like just jump in and just, yeah, have the whole thing
go. Keep it going.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going.
Lucy has a big smile.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting to just keep on adding stuff into that Wikibase instance and then start visualizing it in a guerrilla way around the conference or something.
Yeah,
that would be
We
cool.
totally could get the Virtually Connecting organization sort of in there And suddenly people know who we are and sort of what
Yes.
we're about.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
in-
mean that's the point of virtually connecting, is to bring people who are unable to attend the event into the event. And if we bring them into the Wikibase,
Yeah.
that's full engagement.
that is the inception, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been really awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
And I want to say thank you to Autumn for her trust, because we didn't know where we were going with this, and she trusted me quite a bit in trying something different for Virtually Connecting. So thank you, Autumn, for that, and being willing to give it a try. And this is the second time you've been willing to give it a try with something some crazy idea I had, and let's try to top the first one. All right.
Oh. The first one just blew up the world. You know. We'll see. Let's see where it goes. But thank you all for being having cool ideas and coming up with fun ways to push the lines and the barriers of what we, where we kind of think they are, and say, well, what if it was over here? I really like that about you. So, and thank you to everyone who showed up today and was willing to experiment with something a little bit different in terms of the format, in terms of the way that we do things, because I do think that those are some of the most fun ones. So thank you, everyone. All right, I'm going to stop the